Some people will say, if you've forgiven, you must forget. I don't agree with that teaching. There are some things that you can't forget. No matter how you pray to God, it's just there. Welcome back, everyone. I recently just posted a shot. I'll leave it here. And here's the comment I got from that shot. Somebody sincerely asked that, but how? The person's response got me thinking, but how? I don't really know what the person is asking, but I think the person is saying, how can I forgive? This topic of forgiveness is one that has hindered many people's blessing. And people teach it differently. Some people will say, if you've forgiven, you must forget. I don't agree with that teaching. There are some things that you can't forget. No matter how you pray to God, it's just there. How can you tell somebody that was molested by her father several times to forget those incidences? Maybe amnesia can take it away, but nobody even prays for that kind of medical issue. But there are things, what I'm trying to say in essence is that there are things that you can't forget. So please stop preaching that message of forgive and forget, or if you've truly forgiven, you will forget. But I'm also not saying we shouldn't forgive. You can forgive, and you must forgive. Sincerely speaking, you must forgive. When you forgive people, you're not just forgiving them. You're not forgiving because of them. What you're doing is you're forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself and giving yourself permission to live a better life, to live, to be your authentic self, and to develop spiritually. Giving yourself the permission to receive answers to your prayers. Giving yourself the permission to live a healthy life. These are the things you do when you forgive. You're not forgiving that person. You're forgiving yourself. You're helping yourself. So I want us to see it that way. And that is why even in the Bible, when, was it Peter that asked Jesus that, how many times am I supposed to forgive my brother? And Jesus said what? 70 times 7. 490 times. In a day. What Jesus was trying to say in essence is that just keep forgiving. Just keep forgiving. But then, how do you forgive? I asked this question for a very long time. How do I forgive? Everybody just keeps saying forgive, forgive. We know the meaning of forgiveness. We know why we should forgive. We know the health benefits of forgiving. But how do you practice forgiveness? So I'm going to tell you some ways that has helped me, because I've been through a share of mine too. I just posted a video saying how I had to leave my job suddenly last week. It almost cost me in fact, that was what made me post that shot. I posted it because I was talking to myself and I decided to post it out. I was just trying to avoid being in that space of ruminating on the evil or the negative thing that has been done to me. So here are some ways that I have been able to practice forgiveness. This one I will say first, I read it from a book, and it talked about calling the person's name and just releasing forgiveness over the person. So for example, maybe somebody named Sandy offended you, and you might want to close your eyes and do this because it has to do with imagining. So you just close your eyes and say, Sandy, I try and speak it out loud, and just, Sandy, I have forgiven you. I love you. I wish that you go forward in life. Just say things like, when I left my initial job of where I worked for 7 years and was just treated anyhow, I started practicing. I will mention the woman's name and say, I release you, I forgive you, I pray your school moves forward, I pray you enjoy sanity, I was just releasing every good thing I could over her. Initially, it's not going to be easy. In fact, sometimes you wouldn't want to say these things because of the extent of pain and hurt you feel, but please just try and say it. And even if it's not from your heart, just say it. Then try and start working on making it come from your heart. Release it and just say these things, and close your eyes and imagine that the person is standing in front of you. and you're seeing the person and you're saying these things to the person. And you can even go a step further, like I did. I used to imagine that the woman was standing in front of me and I'm giving her a hug. After some times, I noticed that when I think over the whole issue, it wasn't really as painful as it was initially, and the pain started subsiding. The next part to this also is, after releasing forgiveness over that person, the same things you said over that person, you now come and say it over yourself too. You mention your name, say, Yemisi, I forgive you. I forgive you for remaining in a toxic workplace for over 6 years. I forgive you for being naive. I forgive you for not giving yourself the opportunity to enjoy happiness. I forgive you for thinking so little of yourself. And you just mention some of these things and let them out, and then you pray over yourself too and say, Yemisi, you prosper from now on. You're moving forward, you're victorious, you're unstoppable. Speak those good things over yourself and just imagine yourself hugging yourself, telling yourself you love yourself. So this practice has really helped me, and I do it whenever the thought comes to my mind, that thought of pain. Another way God has helped me practice forgiveness is asking questions, like asking God, why did this really happen? Did you cause it to happen? Yeah. So, like the most recent one where I had to leave my job, I remember I woke up on Saturday after the whole nonsense and shouting and confrontation on Friday from my boss. I woke up on Saturday and my spirit was so heavy, and I went back to my altar. I call it my altar, the position in my parlor where I sit to do my devotion in the morning. And I sat there, but I couldn't pray. I couldn't do anything. Just found myself crying. And I was asking questions. I said, God, why did this happen? Why did you cause it to happen? Am I a bad person? Do I naturally just attract toxic people into my life? Is there something I'm doing wrong? I just kept asking questions. And I didn't receive questions that day. I didn't receive answers that day. But on Monday, I was going somewhere and the answers dropped in my spirit, just like a thought. And I heard God telling me that I made this thing happen for a reason. I wanted to push you out of there. I wanted you out of that place. And I know that if I don't allow this and some other things, because there were some other things that happened around that time too, even in my family, like for example, the car we used in transporting to that place, the car we used in going to work just packed up. And the money that is needed to repair that car, we don't have it. So God was analyzing everything for me, that he had to make that car stop working, and then had to make my boss to be so hostile to push me out because there's something he wants me to do. What is it? I'm not clear on those things for now, but I think I'm gaining clarity gradually. But then, as he was telling me this thing, I also heard, don't be bitter, don't be offended, don't hold grudges against anybody. They just made themselves to be used, just as Pharaoh was used by God in the Bible. Because God hardened his heart. He wanted to use it to glorify himself. God is saying that for him to glorify himself in my heart, he needed to put that hostility in my boss's heart so that I can be driven out of that place in order to answer his call upon my life and do what he wants me to do. So that's another way, because when God explains some things for you, when you get spiritual illumination on some issues, you will know that you don't even need to be unforgiving, because the glory that is coming because of what happened is more than what was even happening before. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say, but try and gain clarification from God when you're going through some issues, when people offend you, when people do things to you. Ask God questions and get answers. This will help you to forgive also easily. So these are ways that I've been able to deal with unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is not a state where we need to remain as Christians. It hinders our prayers. It hinders us from hearing God. It hinders blessings from entering into our life. And what's even worse, sometimes we are angry with people that don't even know we're angry with them. They are living their lives and you are there ruining your life, causing all sorts of medical issues, which I wouldn't even want to go into, that could come as a result of unforgiveness. So I beg us today, go to God in prayer. There's a place of prayer too, and asking God to remove the burden of unforgiveness. Yes, you might never forget that incident, depending on how painful it was. You might never forget. It's okay. But anytime it comes to your heart, release the forgiveness. Just remember the promises. Remember what God said concerning that issue and why he allowed that to happen. And then you'll see that your heart is your heart is more at peace. And there are times too that even after forgiving, you have to remove yourself from that negative atmosphere. It's okay. It's not that you've not forgiven. So, for example, you're in a relationship that is toxic and you've been wounded several times. There's you have the permission to separate yourself. Sometimes you need to physically take yourself out of an environment to enjoy total healing and to be able to even forgive totally. So, like, I just left my job last week. I've forgiven them for all the shout and everything. Yes, sometimes I sit down and the pain tries to come back, but then I do all these things I've analyzed in this video. I've told you in this video, I do them. But that didn't stop me from leaving that job, even though it wasn't an easy decision to take. It's not as if I have another job lined up or I have some money stashed up somewhere to help myself, but I know that God will not leave me stranded. I know, I have the confidence that God will not leave me stranded. So these are some ways that God has helped me with dealing with unforgiveness and forgiving people, and I wish you practice them. And if there are other ways that you have also been able to enjoy, forgiving people, other ways that has worked for you, you can leave them in the comment section. I would want to learn from you too. I believe that God will cause every pain in our hearts, every bitterness to be washed up by His blood, and will make us to enjoy true rest in Him, and will help us to be able to release forgiveness to everyone that we need to release forgiveness to. So until next time, remember that I love you and God also loves you truly. Bye bye.